They tell the IRS one thing and their shareholders another thing. How is that legal? Check this out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. And today, Daniel in Denver, Colorado. Hey, Daniel, what's up?
Yeah, Thom, thanks for taking the call. I just wanted to have, a kind of a brief three-point overview about wealth inequality and get what your thoughts on it are.
Go for it.
I mean, okay, well, the first point is, the major point is that, wealth inequality is not going to be addressed until the income tax system is rationalized in some type of a logical way. I mean, point number one is taxes are what we pay for government goods and services. I mean, that's indisputable. What those services are is the political debate. But, the second major point is until they start treating all income the same, it doesn't matter what the income is. A buck is a buck is a buck, whether you get it from salary and wages or capital gains or food stamps or.
Yeah. How is it that Donald Trump claims to be a millionaire with a billionaire with a multi-million-dollar a year income, and in over an 18-year period he paid $750 in total in income taxes? How the hell does that happen?
Well, I agree. I mean, David K. Johnson, who helped the New York Times write stuff as an expert, he's been following Trump for decades now and has some incredibly revealing stuff about Trump. But until they broaden the tax base to treat all income the same, you just don't really have anything to work with. I mean, that's a major source of inequality. And until they're willing to fix that, and I mean, it could lower taxes because the base is so much broader. I mean, that's point number two. But the third point, and this is what I'm interested in, my idea is that you need to have one tax category for everybody, and that's a corporate tax. That would eliminate a lot of problems. It doesn't matter whether you're a charity, whether you're corporate America, whether you're an individual, whether you're a trust fund. Once you put everything into one tax category, you can't manipulate the system as much, and it makes things a lot fairer. I mean, sure, you're going to have a progressive tax, but for individuals, you can define an individual as a corporation for one, keep track of the revenue, keep track of the expenses, and until you do something like that, nickel and diming the changes with whatever the politician is, whether it's Elizabeth Warren or whatever, is never going to fix things.
Yeah. So, well, until the Reagan Revolution, the top corporate tax rate was over 50%. The top personal income tax was over 50%. It was 51% for corporations. It was 74% for individuals in 1980 when Reagan came into power. And when Reagan dropped both those numbers, right now the top corporate tax rate is 21% with literally millions, well, I don't know if it's literally millions, there's certainly hundreds of thousands of potential loopholes that corporations can employ to get that number down, so that, I read that long list yesterday of corporations who not only didn't pay taxes, but you and I gave them money. We sent hundreds of millions of dollars to them.
But, Elizabeth Warren had one good idea, which has a lot of merit. I mean, some of her ideas are not workable.
Are you talking the wealth tax, or are you talking the stat tax?
No, neither one of those. Elizabeth Warren's proposition was that it's absurd for corporations to be able to report billions of dollars in profit in their Wall Street financials and billions of dollars in losses on their tax return. Her proposition was the standard is generally accepted accounting principles. That's what you use for financial reporting. That's what you use for your tax returns. And that makes eminent sense to me. I happen to be a CPA.
Okay. No, it makes sense to me, too. I mean, the state of New York right now, the major fraud issues that they're looking into with regard to the Trump organization, the Trump crime family, essentially, and now, big news, the Cyrus Vance, the district attorney in New York City, just hired arguably the top mafia prosecutor and defense attorney for the mafia in the history of America. He's 69 years old. He's with a white shoe law firm, Paul Weiss, I think it is. And they just hired this guy away to specifically investigate the Trump crime family. And what they're looking at is the possibility, the probability, in fact, I'd say the certainty, based on Michael Cohen's testimony, that the Trump organization for decades has kept two sets of books, one for the tax people and one for the banks. and that's tax fraud and bank fraud. I mean, that's a crime. It's a major crime. It's the decades in prison kind of crime. And what's so bizarre, as you're pointing out, Daniel, is that big corporations are allowed to do the exact same thing. They have one set of books for their stockholders, their shareholders in Wall Street, and another set of books for the tax man and woman, but they do it right out in the open. And they've drilled enough loopholes in our tax code that they're allowed to get away with it. Trump was Trump was having to sneak stuff and lie to people, and because that's just kind of his default mode, I guess. I'm with you, Daniel. We've got to change these things. Thank you very much for the call.